Loneliness is a major issue in our culture. Nearly half of all Americans feel lonely, and there are major repercussions from those lonely feelings for many of us. In fact, loneliness is highly correlated with depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicidality, mental illness, and even other health conditions. Loneliness is something that needs to be solved, and I'm here today to talk to you about that. My name is Monica Mouer, and I'm a licensed therapist as well as the director of the Center for Transformation. We are a group who is committed to helping you transform your relationships by helping you create connection in a lonely and disconnected world. So the definition of loneliness is a sense of being sad because I don't have any friends or company around. There's a sense of being isolated when we're lonely. Loneliness is a terrible feeling that most of us have felt, and some of us feel chronically on an ongoing basis. So there are a few simple solutions that I would like to offer to you today that as you start to understand and implement the things that I'm talking about, you will be able to break free from loneliness that has been present in your life and may be causing major issues for you. We are people who are supposed to be in relationship. Relationship is the most important part about who we are. We are to love and be loved, and we find the most fulfillment in life when we are experiencing fulfilling and life-giving relationships. When we don't have that, we are alone and lonely. Sometimes we can be in a group of people, around a lot of people, and still feel very lonely because people can't understand us, because we don't feel understood or known by those around us. And so that is a problem too. And so loneliness isn't just a simple fix. It's not the same for everyone. There are a variety of things that you have to think about when you consider loneliness and how to treat it for yourself. So the first thing I wanted to talk about today is this idea of getting around other people. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. Oftentimes there's things that have happened in our life that have caused us to feel like we need to isolate. And so maybe it's something that happened, maybe a death in the family, a death of a pet, or something more simple, maybe just a sadness that's happened, as something in a relationship that's caused feelings of sadness or rejection, or maybe a loss of a job. And that has caused us to kind of go into maybe a funk or a state of disconnect, not really knowing how to get out of that state of mind. And so the first thing that I would recommend in that type of situation is just to be intentional to get yourself out there. I know that in my own life, times when I've stayed home, I mean, even during the pandemic, when I was home for days and days, and not really talking to people outside of my family, it just felt so good to go for a walk and say hi to the neighbor, have a short conversation. At times in my life where, I had children, like I can remember when I had my third baby, just having two other little children at home and feeling like I was stuck in the house so much, not able to talk to other humans, right? Adult humans for most of the day, and just being desperate to have conversation, wanting to have conversation with somebody at the grocery store, or like I said, in the neighborhood on a daily walk. But we as humans thrive on just eye contact, voice tone, short conversations. It doesn't have to be anything major, but just getting out, just seeing people, just meeting people, just going to functions can be so helpful as a basic beginning to fighting any lonely or disconnected feelings you may be having. In fact, I remember as a young mother going to a mom's group and just thinking, wow, this is really great. And I remember telling one of the leaders, hey, this group doesn't seem like it's really for the kids. It's more for the parents. And when I heard another woman say, oh, my child is too young, they don't really play yet, I said to them, hey, this is for you. You need to get to this group and be here with the other moms, because this is what we do in terms of finding community with one another and connecting to one another in life-giving ways when we're at a period or a circumstance in our time, a season of life where we find ourselves isolated. It's vital to get out and about and see other people, see a variety. There's so many people in the world, not just the people that you typically encounter in your home or in your small community. There's so many people to talk to, so many friendly people to talk to. I know that we moved to North Carolina about 15 years ago. Before that, I lived in Kansas. That's where I grew up. California, Illinois, Oklahoma, and then we landed here in North Carolina. And in every state that I've lived in, there's just a variety of types of people. Some people are super friendly and some people are more to themselves. But what I've noticed, even about the Midwestern states as well as here in North Carolina, there's a lot of friendly people. A lot of people that you don't know. You think, oh my goodness, that person's talking to me like they've known me forever, but really, we've never seen each other before. We've never connected before, but it feels so good to just get out and about, see a friendly face, give a wave, give a short conversation about the weather, just to feel like you're connected in society. So that's one thing to try if you're feeling lonely. Here's another concept, another thought, and that is sometimes there's more to it than just that. In order to feel less lonely, more connected, I've got some things I actually have to process too. So my second step here, that's pretty simple concept, is this idea of just getting help. Sometimes you need to just talk to somebody, whether it's a therapist or another helping person in your life, or a friend, or a spouse, just anyone who you feel like you can trust, to just start to break down, hey, there's some sadness and loneliness in me, just to be able to name it, to label it. This is what I'm feeling. Sometimes that sadness and loneliness isn't because there's not people around. It's not because I'm not having conversation. It has more to do with the fact that I've got something to process through, something that I'm hiding from other people. Maybe it's not even intentional, or maybe it is. Maybe I know I'm hiding these things from others. But it's really important to be able to start the conversation, to label what I'm feeling, and to try to be introspective and self-aware about why I'm feeling that way, so that you can move through it. Loneliness isn't just going to go away on its own. It's something that you have to be intentional about. And so this idea of getting help has a lot to do with the fact that we need each other. We are relational beings. It's part of who we are to be in connection with others. And what I've noticed in my journey personally and with clients is that some of us are very deep people, and it's not enough just to have a short conversation, just a how's the weather conversation, a reporter talk conversation. It needs to be more of an emotional connection. And a lot of times it's because there's something deep inside of us that wants to be resolved. Whether there's things that happened in your childhood or in your past, or things that have happened in the present, in your current relationship, or just in your work environment, there's things that have happened that could be causing you to shut down parts of your soul. And if you're shut down in your soul, then you're not able to connect in a way that's going to remedy your loneliness and bring you back to a place of peace and joy and connection in your life. So get the help that you need. You're worth it. Do whatever you need to do to get the help you need to process through these feelings that could be causing you to feel a chronic state of loneliness that you really don't want to live in. It's not a way to live. That's not a life. Life is meant to be enjoyed, even with the difficulties that we encounter. Life is hard, and there's a way to process through and get to the other side so that you can experience joy and peace. Now, another step that I'm thinking would be really great for you to try is the idea of getting grounded, right? And so sometimes we experience loneliness because we're not grounded in an awareness of ourselves and others. Sometimes we're stuck what we call a victim mentality. We think that something's wrong with us and that others don't like us because of that. And we tend to, in those types of experiences, kind of mope around. When I was a kid, my mom would sing that song to me, "Nobody likes me, everybody hates me, I'm gonna go eat worms." Kind of a silly little song. But if she found me kind of moping around and not feeling good about myself, she would kind of sing that little song as kind of a silly way to help me confront what was going on in me at that time. You know, I was doing my best, and we all are doing our best at any given point in time. And a lot of times there are experiences that have pointed to, hey, there's something wrong with me that people don't like, that people don't want to be around. And we start to go internal and wonder what's causing that. But here, if you get grounded in self-awareness, introspection about yourself and introspection about others, sometimes it's just that you're going into a victim mindset, that something's wrong with me, and being self-absorbed rather than reaching out and really trying to make connections with others. A lot of times we wait for people to reach out to us rather than reaching out to them. I don't know, it seems like there's a bit of insecurity around that, a sense of insecurity and isolation, like an inferiority complex. Sometimes it's happening inside of us that causes us to not feel the confidence that we need to reach out in relationship and really try to make those connections. We're not the only ones in this life that are lonely. I oftentimes will tell clients, I run several women's groups, and I say to them, hey, there's lots of people in the world who are lonely. More people are lonely than you would think. People act happy on social media. They put on their best face, act like there's lots of people around, but there's so many of us who are lonely, who are looking for connection. And if some of us will choose to reach out and say, hey, would you like to connect? Rather than sitting in our own sense of inferiority and insecurity, we could really make a big difference. So these are a few things that I think you could do to try to remedy your loneliness. Simple steps. And remedying loneliness gets us out of our funk, out of our dysfunction, and into life, into bringing energy, positive energy, and connection to the world. So worth it. I know you can do these things. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.